To understand why Intel is fighting for its life in 2026, we have to go back to a time when they were untouchable. In the 1990s and early 2000s, Intel didn't just make chips, they owned the computer. Their Intel Inside campaign was a masterclass in branding, making a tiny piece of silicon as recognizable as a Coca-Cola bot. At their peak, Intel enjoyed profit margins that most companies could only dream of. They were the architects of the PC revolution, but success often breeds a dangerous kind of blindness. They were so focused on the desk in front of them that they never saw the smartphone coming around the corner. It was 2006. Steve Jobs was looking for a partner for a project that would change the world, the iPhone. He approached Intel's then CEO, Paul Otellini. Jobs wanted a specialized chip for a mobile device. But there was a catch. Apple wanted to pay a low price, and they wanted it fast. Intel's engineers ran the numbers. They looked at the spreadsheets and decided that the iPhone would never sell enough units to justify the cost of development. They thought it was a toy. Otellini later admitted that his gut told him to say yes, but the data said no. That single no is arguably the most expensive word in business history. Intel stayed home while Apple went on to build the most profitable product ever made. While Intel was laughing off the smartphone, their rivals were paying attention. Companies like ARM and Qualcomm began perfecting low-power chips that could run for days on a single charge. Intel tried to play catch-up later with their Atom processors, but they were too late, too power-hungry, and too arrogant. By the time they realized the world had moved from the desk to the pocket, the door was already locked. And as we'll see in the next chapter, this wasn't just a one-time mistake. It was the beginning of a pattern of denial that would eventually lead to a $16 billion disaster. While the world was moving toward the cloud and AI, Intel was fighting a war against physics and losing. For decades, Intel's tick-tock model was the heartbeat of Silicon Valley. Every 2 years, they made chips smaller, faster, and more efficient. But then, they hit a wall called 10 nanometer. What was supposed to be a routine upgrade turned into a 5-year nightmare. Intel engineers were so confident in their old ways that they rejected a technology called EUV, a radical new way to print chips using extreme ultraviolet light. They thought they were too smart for it. They were wrong. While Intel was stuck in the mud, a quiet giant in Taiwan was listening. TSMC, the Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company, embraced the tech Intel ignored. By the time Intel finally got 10 nanometer working, TSMC was already moving to 7 nanometer, then 5, then 3. Suddenly, the Intel Inside sticker didn't mean the best anymore. It meant yesterday's tech. Apple noticed. In 2020, they did the unthinkable. They fired Intel. They replaced Intel's chips with their own M-series silicon, built by TSMC. It was faster, cooler, and lasted longer. Intel didn't just lose a customer, it lost their reputation. By 2024, the financial crack became canyon. Intel reported a staggering $16.6 billion quarterly loss, the largest in its history. To survive, they had to do something that would have been heresy 10 years ago. They started laying off 17,000 employees and even stopped paying dividends to their shareholders. They are now betting the entire company on a new strategy, becoming a foundry, a factory for hire. But in 2026, the question remains, can a company that couldn't fix its own chips successfully manufacture chips for everyone else? In early 2026, the national champion of American silicon is finally pushing back. Intel has done what many said was impossible. They delivered 5 process nodes in just 4 years. The crown jewel is Intel 18A. This isn't just a slightly better chip. It's the first in the world to use PowerVia, a radical design that moves the power wires to the back of the chip to save space and energy. At CES 2026, Intel showed the world that they are no longer chasing TSMC. For the first time in a decade, they might actually be leading. But 18A is only half the story. Intel is betting that the smartphone era is over, and the IPC era has begun. Their new Panther Lake processors are designed to run massive AI models directly on your laptop, without needing the cloud. And the world is buying in. Over 200 new laptop designs from Dell, HP, and Lenovo are hitting shelves this month. All powered by Intel 18A. Even the US government is all in, taking a 10% stake in the company to ensure that the brains of the world's computers are once again made on American soil. So, is the crisis over? Not quite. Intel is still spending $25 billion a year on massive megafabs in Arizona and Ohio. They are a company divided. One half making the world's smartest chips, and the other half trying to become the world's factory. Intel spent years being the giant that refused to move. Now, they are the giant that has no choice but to sprint. Whether they reclaim the silicon crown or become a footnote in history depends on one thing: execution. The Intel Inside campaign is back, but this time, the stakes aren't just about a logo. They're about the future of global technology. In tech, being a second late is the same as being a decade behind. Don't miss the next shift. Subscribe to keep your edge, and share this with the one friend who still thinks Intel is untouchable.